Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the another series of webinar. Today's topic is understanding FDA's warning letter and what can be the right strategy for resolution of those warning letters. So, being in the field of GXP and providing GXP services to uh, pharmaceutical companies globally, we take this privilege to share the knowledge we gain in a day-to-day experience. So, I'm very much happy to share that Zenovel has been instrumental in providing DXP support to various clients globally. We have been recognized by multiple pharmaceutical companies as their preferred partner for GXP support. In our efforts to share the knowledge which we gain, we are organizing these webinars. Uh, let me start with my introduction. My name is Rakesh, and I'm working as CEO at Zenovel. Uh, Along with me today to present this understanding and webinar, we have Mr. Ketal, who is going to be the main speaker along with me. So welcome, Ketal, in this webinar.
Thank you, Mr. Rakesh, and good morning to everyone. My name is Ketan Prajapati, and I'm working as an Associate Director for the GXP services at Zenovel. I am having more than 20 years of experience in the field of clinical research, preclinical research, and analytical development services. So, within these years, I gained experience about the regulatory, and with this experience today, I'm trying to give some insightful discussion on FDA warning letters, its insights, impact, and resolution strategies. Thank you, Rakesh bhai.
Thank you so much, Ketal, bhai, for a brief introduction about yourself. So now let's begin with the topic. So in pharmaceutical industry, the quality and compliance is are the most essential thing. So when any agency, including FDA, they come for inspection, they tend to see the quality aspect, they tend to see the compliance. So at the end of the inspection, when they come across any irregularities in the quality, issue with the data integrity, uh, or some serious regulatory violation, then they issue different kind of warning letter. So those warning letters uh, those warning letters can be in the form of 483s, individual warning letters, title letters, or notice of initiation of disqualification. So, Ketal bhai, we would like to know more about all those different kind of warning letters which companies receive from FDA. If you can give some more highlight about those letters.
To avoid the observations or serious violations from the FDA, we have to follow the guidelines provided by the FDA thoroughly. So, to understand the guidelines, I have provided some examples of the.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ketan bhai. So, the next question which comes in mind is what are those probable reasons where FDA issues the warning letters, and what can be the probable remedies to take care of those observations and warning letters?
So, today we will discuss about the main reasons for the USFDA warning letters and base remedies to avoid them for all the GFP services such as GCP, GMP, and GLP. So, if we summarize the different warning letters provided to the different industries, we can find one common word, that is the management. So, here I have provided two examples. Summarize all these observations, we can find a common word, that is a management. Management is serious, then there is a less chance to having a FDA violation. Let's discuss the common reason for the FDA warning letters. So, based on the FDA observations and some past audits, data falsification and data tampering is a major concern, and it can be lead to a major violation. So, during the production batches, that data falsification was done during the production batches to save the batch from failing. Even in the clinical studies, subjects was swiped to get the better concentration to pass the study objectives. Similarly, integrity issues or poor data governance is a one concern. From the past observations, also found the data integrity issues or poor data governance. So data integrity issue starts from deleting the audit trials and poor data governance. In some cases, the data were not available during the audit to show the regulators. Similarly, ignorance or lack of oversight of the quality system by management, which we have already discussed in the previous slide. Poor documentation and record keeping is also one concern. So, in the previous observations, it was ruled out that people are not following the ALCOA principles. And the last is personal training deficiencies.
Thank you so much, Ketan Bhai, for giving a brief idea about the common factors related to data falsification and data tampering, which have led to FDA warning letters. But it would be really great if you can highlight into a more detailed way that you have seen or experience of. You can share some experience related to data falsification or issues with the quality and integrity in the field of clinical trials or good laboratory practices or even in the field of good manufacturing practices. If you can give some brief highlight about the specific cases, then that will be really helpful to the audience.
Sure, Rakesh bhai. So let's start with the GCT, clinical trials and CROs. So we know that in the clinical trials or the clinical studies, the protocol is a key document or important document. So generally, the study staff is not having the proper protocol training, and they are doing the protocol deviations. Is failure to report the adverse event or serious adverse events. So sometimes serious adverse events like death of the patient or subject, the CRO team is not immediately reporting it to the sponsors and IRB. Next is inadequate informed consent process. The next is inaccurate or incomplete CRF. So sometimes CRF was not completely filled. Sometimes subject sign were missing. So the data doesn't match with the source because the entries were done retrospectively. Then next is poor PI oversight. So if the investigator, who is the main person to lead the study, is not having the proper experience or training about the clinical study or clinical trial, he cannot supervise the clinical activity properly. Or the next is missing source document. So sometimes because of not documenting data properly, not stored properly in the archival, while upon asking the regulators about the data, people are not uh, ready to present the data properly. So this is all about the GCP. And next we are moving to the GMP, manufacturing facilities. So for the manufacturing facility, data integrity is a key concern, and we have observed or we have seen in the FDA observations that there is a case of deleting or altering the raw data, and even unrecorded test results were found. So next is cross contamination or poor facility hygiene. So incomplete or inaccurate cleaning validation and batch records. So during the validation of a cleaning of a reactor or a production of equipments, it is sometimes found incomplete or inaccurate, and even batch records were not properly maintained. The next is invalidated process equipments. So manufacturing or testing with the unqualified system. So sometimes the equipment like GCMS, LCMS, or HPLC or other equipments, they are used to generate the data of the batches were not either qualified or not calibrated properly, and they are giving the false results. And if the next is inadequate investigations of deviations OOS. So after repeat analysis, people are not performing the root cause analysis and they are not handling OOS properly. All about the GMP facilities. And the next is GLP facility, preclinical and non-clinical labs. So as we know that the study director is a key person in the GLP studies, and protocol is the most important document to perform the preclinical studies. So here improper and the next is GLP facility, preclinical and non-clinical labs. So as we know that the study director is a key person in the GLP studies, and protocol is the most important document to perform the preclinical studies. So here improper GLP facility maintenance and animal handling is a top violation. So sometimes we observe that in animal house there was no humidity, temperature, and airflow maintained because of the poor AHU maintenance. Failure to follow the study protocol is the main concern. So if the team is not having the proper protocol training and they are not approving the protocols with the study directors, and sometimes they are not even documenting the major deviations, inadequate quality assurance, QA oversights. So QA is not doing proper training, and after getting the observations, they are not reporting these observations to the management. So some poor sample management. So in GLP, sample management is a important task. So from the getting sample from the animal to discard the sample, we have to maintain the whole chain with the proper documentation. If the document is not proper or sample management is not proper, then there is a case that FDA can give serious observations on this. Then the next is inadequate archiving of the study records. Sometimes the slides of the animals were not properly maintained with the proper temperature in the archive. So at the time of audit, these slides were not available to audit by the auditors. So these are the concerns from the GLP. So here I have tabulated top 10 FDA warning letters violations for the clinical research. All are the violations that can happen in the FDA warning letters.
Thank you so much, Kital Bhai, for giving a brief, insight into different kind of violation. So, having known that, would you please give some more insight about how to, mitigate those violations? What is the remedy, to take care of those things so that we can avoid such warning letters from FDA?
Sure, Rakesh bhai. So if we see the best remedy to avoid the US FDA warning letter, there is only two words: integrity and quality. So if we are focusing on the integrity and quality of a particular task or particular project, then there is a no chance of having the US FDA warning letter. But because of the stringent project timelines, people are not following, or they are not taking care about the quality and data integrity throughout the study. So let's discuss about the general remedies for all the GSP services. So the most important part is we have to establish a strong quality systems, which includes the SOP. So our SOP should be in line with the recent regulatory requirements. The kappa should be root cause based kappa. So first we have to identify the root cause, and based on the root cause we have to identify corrective action and then reactive actions. Facility should have the risk management facility. So even when we are having the small risk, we can follow this risk management strategy. The next is ensure the data integrity compliance. So if the study staff follow the ALCOA principles, then our data should be a correct data, and there is no small observation from the regulators on the documentation process. And the most important point is conduct the regular internal audits as well as the external audits from the third party auditors. Because while doing internal audits, and especially for the external audits, the auditors can identify and they can give the resolution or the solution for the critical observations before FDA does. The next is training and retraining of the staff periodically. So also we have to implement real-time documentation practices as per the ARPA principles. Weighing the any material, we have to stick the weighing slips with the raw data. Then kappa should be based on the root cause. So first we have to identify the root cause and then we have to implement the kappa. We have to always use the validated systems and equipments. So if we are using any computer, we have to perform the computer system validation on all the computers that we are having in our facility. Encourage a quality and compliance culture. Uh, for that, was able to not hide any deviations or error because of the fear, because in the future it can be a serious observations from the FDA. For the GCP, we know that protocol is a critical document and we have to adhere to the protocol throughout the study. So the protocol amendment, so all the amendment should be trained uh, for the particular staff. Then inform concern compliance, so ensure properly documented, dated and signed concern for every subject and it should be verified by the quality control team as well as the quality assurance team. Then we have to ensure PI oversights. The principal investigator must supervise the team and ensure the data integrity and continuous monitoring of the trial by the principal investigator for each and every steps. Maintain the complete source documentations. So if for that match the CRH to the source data, including the lab vitals, A logs, and ECGs. And the most important part is study monitoring. So study monitoring is just not a regulatory requirement, but sponsor can send a train or having a good experience monitor to actually audit the trial or the activity. So he or she can identify the observations and it can be resolved before the FDA inspection. Then implement a robust quality management system QMS with the change control. So as we have discussed, change control should be root cause based analysis, dedicate all the processes and equipment, ensuring all the manufacturing, cleaning and analytical methods should be fully validated. We have to establish strong deviation and kappa programs, investigate root cause and implement a long-term fixes, not just a temporary patches. And we have to maintain the facility as per the GMP requirement and as per the recent regulatory guidance document. So for the GMP, uh, protocol is a key document. So strict protocol compliance is required by proper training and implementation of the protocols. We have to maintain complete and accurate raw data. Sample management is a key activity during the GLP activity. Hence, sample handling and chain of custody maintenance is an important task. We have to maintain independent QA unit that audits all the study thoroughly and to provide the observations to the management to take a proper kappa, ensure archiving of all the raw data, protocols, and final reports. Overall, as a part of conclusion, we have to maintain a compliance first culture, not a just documentation culture. We have to encourage staff to speak about the errors and deviations early. So, if we identify deviations and errors early, we can have the corrective and preventive action plans before the FDA audits. And the most important is transparency is a key to avoiding FDA escalations. Tips for resolution. Each violation must be mapped to, as we have discussed first, we have to perform the root cause analysis. After identifying the root cause, we can go to the corrective action plan. then preventive action plan, and after that we have to maintain each and every evidence for the corrective action as well as the preventive actions. Response should be avoid excuses. We have to focus on the accountability and documented change, not on the assumptions. And kappa must be site specific, time bound, and effectiveness tested.
Thank, thank you so much, Ketal. It was really a very wonderful insight for the remedies to avoid FDA warning letters. Uh, after these, I would like to ask you certain questions like, how should we deal with, the warning letters when they're already received by companies or any CR? So what do you think? Can you please throw some more light on step by step processes for dealing with the warning letters and resolution of the
Sure, Rakesh, right? So let's start with the step one. So it is very important to understand the violations thoroughly. So for that, we have to carefully review the entire warning letters, including each and every observations in detail. We have to read many times each observation to understand it. Then the second is we have to identify each observations, regulatory citation, and underlying issues. For example, data integrity, GCMP, GLP, and GCP, etc. The next important step is to perform a root cause analysis. So, first we have to conduct a detailed investigation into why all these issues occur. For this, we can use a different tool like five whys, fishbone diagram, Ishikawa, failure mode of effect analysis, and other tools that can be helped to identify the root cause. Identifying the root cause, then develop a comprehensive kappa plan. So your corrective and preventive action kappa plans should include corrective actions, preventive actions, timelines, uh, responsible persons, and supporting evidence. The next is response in the writing. So generally the timeline is 15 days. So submit your written response within a 15 business days to receive the letter. So if more time is needed, acknowledge receipt within 15 days and request an extension with justification. The next step is implementation of the kappa plan. So start executing your corrective actions immediately. Maintain the detailed documentation of every step, and it should be in the uh, auditable trial format. Then engage the proactively with FDA. So there is an option of type a meeting with the FDA or voluntary action initiative follow up with the FDA. And for that, we have to be transparent and cooperative. And FDA may inspect again before the officially closing the letter. So our kappa should be actual kappa, so we can justify during the next audit. Request a closeout letter if eligible. Once all the actions are completed and verified internally, notify the FDA that you have resolved the violations. Provide a summary report and supporting documents. FDA will review and may issue a closeout letter if they are satisfied. So let's discuss the common mistakes to be avoided during the execution of the study or project, or to give the answer to the FDA. So, incomplete or vague kappa responsibilities are not provided in the response letter. Ignoring data integrity or understanding systematic issues. So sometimes there is a exact observation is given, but the response is different from the observation. So we have to avoid such kind of responses. Uh, as per the timeline, we have to respond to the regulators. So delay in the communication may lose the confidence. failure to provide the evidence of the implementation. So after answering the query, it is very important to provide the raw data documentation as a proof to the regulators uh, for the answer to their queries.
Thank you so much, Ketan Bhai, for brief insight about how to resolve what can be the step-by-step process of resolving the warning letters. So once we achieve that stage where we have understood and come to a mitigation strategies or uh, done some root cause investigation to all the warning issues or observations. What do you think can be the best way to draft the responses to those warning letters that can be acceptable to the FDA?
Uh, sure, Rakesh bhai. So here I have provided the template for the answer the FDA observations. So it includes the subject. So in the subject response to the FDA warning letter, so we have to give in the reference of the particular letter number and then address to FDA district office. Then from is our company address. Then a date of the response and sections to be included is first is the introduction. It includes the acknowledged receipt of the warning letter and commit to the compliance. Then the second is observation wise response. So observation one includes the uh, uh, first what was the root cause, then what is the corrective action plan, what is the preventive action plan, and supporting document attached. Similarly, we have to give the response for the all the queries. Then last, it is a conclusion. So we have to confirm the implementation of the timelines, request for the re-inspection if it is applicable, and the contact detail. And we have to ensure the response are factual, clear, supported with the evidence and documented actions, and not just vague answers. So here I have provided a tabular format for the example of the kappa plan. So here I have provided the sample kappa checklist for the clinical research sites in a tabulated format for understanding. So what are the key preventive strategies to avoid the FDA observations? So for that, it is required to have the continuous GCP, GLP trainings, GMP trainings, internal audits and mock inspections, timely deviation and kappa tracking. So there should be a tracker for the deviation and kappa throughout the facility. QA oversights and documentation control, data integrity systems like audit trials, e-signatures. Let's discuss about the tools for monitoring FDA compliance. So there are different websites available where we can have the uh, this kind of compliance details. So this is all about the tools.
Thank you so much, Ketan Bhai, for very good insight on FDA warning letters. So hello everyone. Like today, we got good insight on FDA warning letters, different kinds of warning letters, how FDA use the warning letters, what are different kinds of warning letters in the field of GCP, GMP, and GLP. What can be the step-by-step process for resolving those warning letters, and how to respond to the FDA warning letter. So it was quite informative session, Ketalbhai. And in continuation to this, we are coming up with the phase two of this webinar, where we'll be talking about some important case studies about certain such observations in those warning letters, and what is our strategy as a Zenovel, what we suggest, what kind of action can be taken how we talking about all those critical aspects with appropriate practical case studies in the upcoming session. That is a part two of this webinar series. So thank you so much once again. It was a wonderful discussion with Ketalbai. Hope you have enjoyed and gained